Hi, I am Michael Beck, an Enterprise Support Manager based out of San Francisco, California. Welcome to AWS Supports You, where we give you best practice and troubleshooting tips from AWS Support. Joining me today is Kartik Chakoti and Tom Lococo from AWS Support. Can you introduce yourselves?
Yes, thank you, Michael. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Karthik. I am a product manager with AWS based out of Seattle, Washington. I've been working with Amazon for over 4 years now in this capacity. I work with the Trusted Advisor team, and I'm passionate about helping customers optimize the deployments in AWS and build experiences to help them achieve their business outcomes. Over to you, Tom.
Thanks, Kartik. Hello, everyone. Again, Tom Lococo. I am a Principal Technical Account Manager at AWS. I'm in my 7th year of helping customers design and deploy solutions in AWS. I work out of our New York City location, serving customers in the financial services industry, but I've served multi-industry customers as well. My current customer is one of the largest US-based global financial firms. I'm a member of an AWS team that advocates for management tools, including Trusted Advisor. So happy to be here today talking about this launch.
Thanks. So today we will be talking to you about AWS Trusted Advisor, specifically AWS Trusted Advisor Priority, which is now in preview. Before we get into that, a note to the audience online. Feel free to use the chat window located to the right side of your screen and let us know where you're joining from. Give us comments and ask us questions throughout the episode. We want to hear from you. We'll also provide a link to our survey, so if you'd like to let us know how we did, please click the link and give us your feedback. Kartik, can you walk us through what we're going to be talking about today?
Absolutely. So today we're going to talk about AWS Trusted Advisor, what it is and how it helps you, how we envision it to be the home of all best practices across AWS. We're also going to talk to you about a new feature called AWS Trusted Advisor Priority, which is available in preview today, and then demo the experience. So what exactly is Trusted Advisor? AWS Trusted Advisor provides recommendations that help you follow AWS best practices. Trusted Advisor evaluates your accounts by using what we call as checks. Now, these checks help you identify ways to optimize your AWS infrastructure. It helps you improve your security and performance. It helps you reduce your costs and monitor service quotas. You can then follow the check recommendations to optimize your resources on AWS. Now, Trusted Advisor inspects your AWS environment and makes recommendations when there are deviations from AWS best practices. It allows you to download an aggregated report for your entire AWS organization, meaning all member accounts that roll up to your AWS organization. You can even use Amazon EventBridge to monitor and alert your team of Trusted Advisor check findings that you think are critical to your team. Now, while Trusted Advisor provides best practice recommendations, we're also aware that you receive best practice guidance from different services inside of AWS. You also receive best practice guidance from your AWS account team, comprising of technical account managers, solutions architects, account managers from time to time. We heard from you that there are multiple sources that you consume best practice guidance from, and we want to be able to provide a single pane of glass view across all of AWS. To this end, we're making Trusted Advisor the home of all best practices. We're doing this by integrating Trusted Advisor with different AWS services. We've increased the best practice coverage from 110 checks in 2021 to 236 in early 2022. And this is a journey that we will continue to expand to help you optimize your deployments on AWS. And here's a snapshot of some of the services that are currently incorporated in Trusted Advisor. So how exactly do we do this? First, Trusted Advisor scans your AWS environment across all your accounts and compares it to the 230 plus AWS best practice checks that we've learned by leveraging AWS's operational history serving hundreds of thousands of customers. Then it provides recommended actions based on 3 scoring criteria. A green result typically means that a no problem is detected. A yellow result means that an investigation is recommended to determine if further review is needed. And a red result means that action is recommended to address the potential critical findings. Now, checks are grouped into 4 different categories, or pillars as we call it: cost optimization, performance, security, and fault tolerance. And in each of these 4 areas, we identify areas of opportunities, improvements. And in the 5th category, to monitor service limits when the service usage is more than 80% of your service limit. Here's a screenshot of your experience on the Trusted Advisor console. The check summary dashboard gives you a summary view of changes, of recent changes, and how many recommendations there are by severity and by category or pillar. You can even download a full list of checks in an Excel file. When you click on a check, it gives you a detailed description of a recommended best practice, the criteria associated with that finding, the recommended course of action that you can take to remediate the finding, along with a list of resources that have been flagged for remediation. You can also view Trusted Advisor checks aggregated across all of your accounts in your AWS organization. You can generate a report, and you can filter this report by region. You can do it by account, by check category or pillar. You can filter for a specific check and even resource status. And you could do this in either CSV or JSON. Next, we're going to talk about AWS Trusted Advisor Priority in preview. This is a new feature that's available today in the Trusted Advisor console. So what exactly is Trusted Advisor Priority? Now, we've heard from customers that enterprises have tens and even hundreds of accounts, thousands of resources where they need to review the recommendations, identify the impact, prioritize, and then take action. Now, customers often work with their AWS account teams where they receive, custom guidance based on what's important for them, based on the desired outcomes that they're looking to achieve. Whether it be exiting a data center or launching a new product. Now, these recommendations are often shared via offline mechanisms today. We do this via email. We do this during business review things. We do this during scheduled cadence calls with you. Now, Trusted Advisor Priority is a mechanism that digitizes that experience where curated guidance from your account teams is surfaced to you on a console. Now, TA Priority is available in a preview mode in the Trusted Advisor console. You can access Trusted Advisor Priority in the management account of your AWS organization. From the service homepage, management accounts land on the TA Priority page by default, which is the page that you're looking at. If you do not have access to Trusted Advisor Priority, you should be able to contact your account team who will be able to get that going for you. Now, all recommendations in Trusted Advisor Priority are aggregated across all accounts in your AWS organization. So it's by default, it is a multi-account view at an AWS organization level. Trusted Advisor in TA Priority, on the top left, you are presented with the actions needed panel, where you're able to see the number of recommendations that you are yet to respond to, also the number of recommendations that you have accepted and you're currently working on. So that's why they're in progress. The overview panel on the right gives you a quick insight into some of the other stats, like the number of resolved and rejected recommendations in the last 90 days, the number of recommendations with no update in the past 30 days, the average time that it actually takes you to resolve a risk or recommendation that is surfaced to you. And right below the overview panel is where you can actually view the list of recommendations your account team has prioritized for you. It is from here that you're going to be able to review a recommendation. You can either accept it or reject it, or if you've accepted a previous a recommendation, then you'll have the ability to go back and resolve a recommendation. Every action that you take on a recommendation in Trusted Advisor Priority is also reflected in an internal AWS experience where your account team can track the changing statuses. Now, we talk about this as a collaboration mechanism. So that's exactly what that means, which is where every action that you take on Trusted Advisor Priority, there's an internal experience that your AWS account team is going to be able to view and provide and continuous tailored guidance. You can also perform these actions from the recommendation details page, i.e. when you click on a recommendation, it pops up the details of that recommendation where you're going to be able to see additional metadata about the recommendation, including like detailed descriptions, the recommended actions, and the list of resources associated with that recommendation. Michael, I want to pause here to see if there's any questions from the audience so far.
Hi, yeah, Kartik. We do have one from JibJab06. Is there a cost for using AWS Trusted Advisor?
Great question. The short answer is no. So all customers can actually access and use Trusted Advisor without additional charges. However, customers on a basic and a developer support plan has access to some core security checks and service quota checks. But customers on business and enterprise support plan can access all checks, including cost optimization, security, fault tolerance, performance, and service quotas. The key thing to note is the Trusted Advisor Priority, the experience that we're talking about now, is only available to customers on enterprise support.
Got it. Tom, is there anything that you'd like to add in there?
No, I think Kartik covered it. Thanks.
All right, great. Back over to you, Kartik.
Awesome. So similar to checks in the Trusted Advisor dashboard, recommendations in Trusted Advisor Priority are categorized into 6 different categories of pillars. Cost optimization, performance, security, fault tolerance, service quota, and operational excellence. Now, where do recommendations for Trusted Advisor Priority come from? They come from a few different sources. The first one is the Trusted Advisor rule engine. Now, this includes the native Trusted Advisor checks, the 236 checks that we talked about earlier during the presentation, well architected. Now, if you've recently done a well-architected review on one of your workloads, there are high-risk indicators that have been flagged against the well-architected review. We will surface them to you in Trusted Advisor. In Trusted Advisor, Security Hub. So if you've signed up for Security Hub, findings against your resources from Security Hub will be surfaced to you in the security pillar in Trusted Advisor, among other sources. Now, your account team is going to prioritize these checks and resources and share them with you in TA Priority. The second bucket of them is going to come from your account team. Now, these are opportunities that are identified by your account team. These could be either by review of your architecture on AWS. It could be a recent review of support cases that you've opened with us, or even knowledge of upcoming events such as your upcoming product launches. The third bucket is AWS services. And internally, we call them as planned service events. So these are things like database deprecations. And we want to make sure that you are aware of this if you have a production workload running on them. So in addition to email notifications that we send to at an account level, in addition to personal health dashboard notifications, we'll also surface critical recommendations in Trusted Advisor Priority. So what are some of the benefits of using Trusted Advisor Priority? Now, recommendations in TA Priority come from your AWS account team. Now, this includes your technical account managers, your solutions architects, your account managers. They're context aware based on our knowledge of the outcomes you're looking to achieve on AWS and what's actually important for you. This is also context aware based on our knowledge of your critical workloads that are running on AWS, production accounts, and our knowledge of the construct of your business units. Oftentimes your AWS account team analyzes your usage of AWS services, your spend across different accounts, and comes up with optimization recommendations. These could include recommendations to sign up for a savings plan or a cost optimization workshop. When we review your interactions, we have recently opened support cases. They might actually be a recommendation to do a deep dive with a service team. Now, when we're aware of an upcoming product launch, we recommend you to do an infrastructure event management, where we can help you, in a structured way to plan your event. All of these recommendations are going to be surfaced to you at an AWS organization level in Trusted Advisor Priority. So in addition to surfacing them on Trusted Advisor Priority, you will also have a mechanism to let us know what you think about those recommendations. So TA Priority provides a closed loop feedback mechanism where every recommendation that is surfaced to you by your AWS account team will appear as a pending response until you take action on the console. Now, against each pending response, you'll have a call to action where you can review the recommendation and either accept it to take action or reject it as you see fit for your deployments. Now, once you accept a recommendation, the recommendation then changes the status to in progress. And when you're able to address the recommendation, you can come back to the console and resolve the recommendation. You can also access historically addressed recommendations on the console. On the flip side, when you reject a recommendation, you can also let us know if you don't think that it's a risk or if you don't think that it's actually relevant to your account. Now, this actually provides a mechanism to collaborate with your AWS account team. This way, it actually helps you focus on the most important recommendation. By following this closed loop feedback workflow, you and your AWS account team can closely monitor the life cycle of a prioritized recommendation all the way from inception through to remediation. Now, Trusted Advisor Priority is available in a preview mode today, and it's available to you in the management account of your AWS organization, which means that the recommendations are aggregated across all member accounts in your AWS organization. We're working on enabling the delegate admin feature where you can view Trusted Advisor Priority in any of the accounts you can delegate this access to from your management account. You can also view historically viewed recommendations that you've taken action on and addressed previously at any time on this console. Michael, I want to pause here to see if there's any questions in the audience.
All right, Kartik. I don't have any questions from the audience, but I've got one. So can I receive a notification when a high priority recommendation is surfaced to me on TA Priority?
Yeah, so in the preview mode, there is no ability for you to receive the notification, but we're working on enabling a feature similar to how you're able to set up email notifications today from the preferences page in the Trusted Advisor console on the left navigation, where you're able to set up email notifications to be sent out to you for best practices from the Trusted Advisor dashboard. You'll be able to set up similar email notifications for critical recommendations on TA Priority. They're going to be emailed to you either on a daily or a weekly cadence that you select to the billing, security, and operational contacts that you set up in your account.
All right, got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Back over to you.
Awesome. I will now pass over to Tom, who's going to provide an overview of the experience on the TA console.
Excellent. Thank you, Kartik. If you could just advance to that data flow diagram, great. So thanks for that great intro to this exciting new preview, Kartik. I'd like to now drill down into the use of this tool by teams like mine in the field. But before I dive into the details of the data flows shown in this diagram, let me just talk for a moment about some of the additional customer needs that this tool set is going to help us address. I mentioned before that I serve a large global financial services customer as a member of their account team. That particular customer has thousands of AWS accounts across many pairs and organizations. They consume tens of millions of compute hours per month analyzing petabytes of data. And they open hundreds to thousands of support cases each month, depending on the time of year and their deployment cycles. They receive thousands of alerts across those accounts for many distinct types of management events. And some of those are time sensitive, some of those may be security related, and some of them may also have potential regulatory impact. So it's important that we track those closely. The challenge is, how do we prioritize all of those items? There also may be recommendations in the automated feeds that don't apply to a particular customer's environment or architecture. So that requires some of the directed filtering and prioritization that Kartik talked about before, based on knowledge of customers' account structure and workload priority and other contexts within their business. On a day-to-day basis, AWS customers and their account teams manage complex risk and improvement programs. So just to give you a couple examples, fourth quarter of last year, many of us were dealing with a security risk known as the Log4j exploit. That logging component affected and was embedded in many open source projects. It could impact hundreds to thousands of on-premise and cloud-based systems, depending on your customer's size. That event unfortunately happened over the holidays when many teams were trying to take hard-earned vacations. So that resulted in some of the customer teams being short-staffed at the time. Another example of a type of event that we'd want to manage through these types of programs is software maintenance and lifecycle events that Kartik hinted at. Say, for example, your customer uses container orchestration systems such as Kubernetes. Those releases drive EKS upgrades at AWS, and those events can come along pretty frequently, quarterly or more. And assessing the accounts that are lagging behind on updates is important from both a security and a functional perspective. So those examples and others require us to manage programs to make sure that risks and recommendations are addressed across an enterprise in a timely fashion. Trusted Advisor has long been a staple of the TAM toolbox because it allows us to assess one or many accounts across multiple dimensions and pillars and identify opportunities for improvement with associated priorities. But in the past, what we've lacked is an ability for customers and account teams to track and manage their associated work efforts in one place. So this diagram is showing us how we're going to use Trusted Advisor Priority to help improve the situation. And we'd like you to understand the effort that goes into preparing the risks and recommendations that you see presented in TA Priority. So if we start at the bottom of this diagram, in step 1, you see the automated detection of key events at the bottom by Trusted Advisor and the other integrated tool sets that Kartik showed you previously. Also at the bottom, you see our AWS service teams that own and manage those services, and that process we talked about before, which is planned service events or PSEs. That's where service teams can initiate software lifecycle events and upgrade programs, such like the one I just talked about before with EKS. So in step 2, you have account teams on the left who review incoming risks and recommendations. They can filter or dismiss events that they know to be unnecessary, and they can classify and enrich events that they know are going to require further focus with the customer. Only your assigned account team members have access to the Trusted Advisor internal console, or what's called the backend in this diagram, to curate risks for their associated customer. Account team members will not typically have access to the customer's TA priority view, but for demo purposes today, I'm going to show you how it actually looks in that console. In addition to the auto-detected risk that we've already talked about, account teams can further create manually assessed risk based on reviews that they've held in your environment or things that they've discovered about your usage of AWS. The Trusted Advisor console will then display both auto-detected and manually created risks together for correlation and action. So in step 3, once the account team is finished filtering and prioritizing a set of risks, they share those over to the customer for presentation within TA Priority. And in steps 4 and 5, those can be acted on jointly by the customer and their account team. So now we're going to move from this diagram and we're going to jump into a bit of a demo and show you how this actually works in practice. Okay, so when you go into your Trusted Advisor Classic view in your management account only, you'll see a new choice at the top, which is that Trusted Advisor Priority view. When you click on that, on the right-hand side, you'll see this Prioritize Recommendations pane. And each of the items that your account team has provided are shown there with a series of searchable, sortable columns for recommendation name, status, source, category, and age. The source column will distinguish between those auto-detected and manually created risks that we talked about. The category column will show you values such as security, performance, and fault tolerance, essentially the pillars that are flagged within the source tool. And then the age column tells you how long it's been since that item was first shared. This helps with tracking your time to respond for each of these items. Let's take a look at the dashboard at the top of the screen. So again, we saw this a little bit before. You can see here that items move from pending to in progress to rejected or resolved states as you work on these. This is very useful for viewing the number of risks, where they are in the life cycle, and the average processing time or action per risk. Let's dive into the actual actions that we can take for each of these items or risks. So first, we're going to look at a manually created risk. This one is particularly about an underutilized set of databases. So you can see in the upper right-hand corner there, the actions that the customer can take to reject or accept one of these risks. And there's also a button where they can download information about a particular risk and the associated set of resources. In the middle of the overview section, you see all the metadata about the risk as was presented in the top level view. And then most importantly, what we see at the bottom is the details. So these are the descriptions of the risks as they're entered by your account team in the case of manually entered risks. You can also see the accounts that are affected by this particular risk. They happen to be blurred out in this demo here for security purposes, but the account numbers would appear immediately in the middle there. And then finally, you have the recommended actions section. So this is where you'd have what you should do about this risk. This might be a link to a blog post, a service manual, some other guidance that can tell you what you do with this risk. So that's pretty much how a manually detected risk shows up. Now we're going to jump back out and go into a auto-detected example and see some of the additional data that would be available there coming in from the different integrated services. So we're going to open a auto-detected risk about IAM access key rotation. And so there you can see the top of this risk is exactly the same as a manually detected risk. You have the same actions and the same overview section available. What's different is the details and description field at the bottom. So details has the description of this particular check in the associated tool. It shows what the threshold and criteria is for actually triggering this particular check. And then again, recommended actions has links to all of our docs, our videos, places that show you how to deal with this particular type of risk. And then most importantly, for auto-detected risks at the bottom, you can see the affected resources. So that is going to be account IDs, resource IDs, and other details, which will be helpful when you're trying to find and remediate a particular type of risk. Okay, so that's the two main classes of manually detected and automatically detected risks. So now we go back out to the top level view. Basically in closing, we recommend that you use this view as part of your regular cadence calls and business reviews so that you can view the latest findings that have come in. You can check back in on the status of previously discussed findings and make sure that they are moving forward to resolution. That concludes our demo. We hope that the data flow discussion and brief demo here of the TA Priority Console gives you a sense of how you can implement mechanisms for continuous improvement between your team and the account team using Trusted Advisor Priority. So Michael and Kartik, I'm going to turn it back to you for questions and for further actions for our audience.
Thanks, Tom. So yeah, did get a question getting dropped in here. We kind of touched on this earlier, but the viewer may not have been on at the time. So Trusted Advisor is great. Thank you very much. Can I get an email or Slack notification if a specific check changes status?
So this is actually part of the email notifications that would be available as part of the general availability launch of TA Priority, where you're going to be able, you will be able to set up notifications based on changing statuses. So if someone inside of your organization takes an action on one of the recommendations that surface to you at an AWS organization level on behalf of your organization, then you're going to be able to receive either a daily or a weekly email update based on your preferences.
All right, thanks, I Can't Aim. Hopefully that answers your question. We'll be here for a little bit longer. If you want to, if you have a follow-up, feel free to drop that in there. Another question, Kartik, that I've got as well. So if you wanted to be able to use a reporting tool for your company and have that driven from TA data, is there an API that you can use to be able to interact with TA?
Yes, and many customers actually do that today. You can use the Support API to programmatically retrieve the check results. Most popular way of doing this is also through the Amazon Event Bridge. However, the TA Priority experience that you just viewed today is console only today. We plan to iterate and provide an API so you can programmatically ingest the critical recommendations that are surfaced to you on Priority.
All right, thank you very much. Looks like no other questions in the chat right now. Is there anything else that either one of you would like to touch on, share with the audience before we wrap up?
Yeah, I was just going to mention on the question about notifications, and again, you can see a little bit in this diagram here, is again, all the checks and things you currently have in TA Classic continue to flow there, right? So any of your current notifications and things you do in TA Classic, you can continue to do those. This presentation of prioritized things in TA Priority is just on top of all those mechanisms that currently exist.
Gotcha. Thanks, Kartik.
To add to what Tom just mentioned, this is a true collaboration tool. There is an internal experience that actually mirror images this for your AWS account team that you closely work with for your production workloads on AWS. So every time a recommendation is actually surfaced to you, the actions that you take is almost near real time reflected to your TAM and the SAs that you closely work with in their internal experience. Alternatively, if you have an offline conversation with your AWS account team and they have the ability to and you say that you want to take an action on it and you've had this conversation offline with them, they have the ability to actually change the status of that recommendation in that internal experience, which will be reflected to you on the console. So you'll see that a recommendation has been surfaced to you. Your TAM has actually taken an action on your behalf based on the conversation that you have had on a certain day. So it's a true collaboration mechanism where you're going to be able to see the interactions back and forth. If you're currently on an enterprise support subscription, TA Priority is available to you in the management account of your AWS organization. If it's not already enabled, please contact your AWS account team and they'll be able to get you started with that. And last but not the least, like the recommendations surfaced to you here are critical to ensuring you are able to achieve higher levels of operational and application resilience, right? Now, so take advantage of that. So take advantage of the prescriptive guidance from your account team to help you achieve the application reliability and resilience.
All right. Any last words, any closing comments, Kartik?
Happy cloud computing.
Call to action or anything?
Yes. So we will be sharing the links to the What's New page, as well as public documentation that is available to you in the AWS documentation page, where you'll have information on how to set up a priority and the actions that you're able to take on Trusted Advisor Priority. And like I said, this is available to you in a preview mode. The general availability mode is going to be available soon, with the ability to receive notifications, so you're able to take action on recommendations that are surfaced to you as soon as you have it on the console.
Excellent. All right. So everyone, today we gave an overview of AWS Trusted Advisor Priority, which is now in preview. A new service to provide visibility and manage risks for our customers through their AWS Support console. If there are any questions that were not answered today, you can post them on repost.aws, where one of our experts can provide you with an answer, or your question could become a topic of one of our future shows. If you have feedback for us, please check the chat box on the right for a link to our survey, or you can email us at awssupportsyou@amazon.com. We want to hear from you. Tell us what else you would like to see on this show. Be sure to join us next Monday, where we will be discussing starting your career at AWS. Thanks for joining us at AWS Supports You. Happy cloud computing.
Thank you.